and welcome to Portman Road. This sound indicates an important announcement.
Counting down to Christmas, busy making plans. I got the mother-in-law knocking at my door. We all need to lend a hand.
Counting down to Christmas, queuing at the shops. It'll be next year till we get out of here. I gotta pull out all the stops. La 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 la, it never ever stops.
It's Christmas Day, what do you say to a glass of red or white wine? So spread a little cheer to those who hold dear. Well, that's gonna suit me just fine.
Well, it's not a red wine, but it is a pint of Adnam's finest Ghost Ship. And welcome in, my friends, and you are my friends. And it's a big one this evening. We have Supporters Club Chairman Mark Ramsay joining us on the show. We have Marcus Evans' statement fresh off the press this evening, which is why we were late going live. I do apologise for that. I know many of you were waiting, and I can see many chat comments flying in already. But we were just going through the statement and digesting it and taking it all on board to make sure we had all the finer points correct. I do want to try and make this as interactive as we possibly can and get, obviously, your voice heard, as I said in the introduction there. So get those questions in, get those comments in, and let's have a conversation. Let's try and make it a balanced conversation, an adult conversation. So let's have our points, and I'm sure you'll feel passionate about those points. I know I do, and I know Cruncher certainly does. You never call Cruncher a shrinking violet. But let's be respectful of each other. We're all here for the same reason. It's because we love Ipswich, and we want the very best for this football club. And on that basis, I will bring in the man who will bring the hard truth this evening. No introduction necessary for this man. It is, of course, the Cruncher. Welcome in, Crunch. Can't hear you, mate.
Can you hear me?
I can now. I was almost thought this would be a heaven program if we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
We can. How are you?
I was singing along.
It's a tune, isn't it, that one?
Oh, it's available, isn't it, on YouTube?
Spotify, definitely.
It's on YouTube.
It is.
Are you going to tell the viewers who's singing?
I've not asked him if I can.
Well, can you guess? If you can guess who's singing it, well, leave a message in the comments with who you think might be singing it.
Yeah. Ben Moore says, play the intro. He liked it. Reese Curtis, our voices need to be heard. Stuart Lambert out. Matty Cox, a protest needs to happen. So obviously Marcus Evans has spoken, Cruncher, this evening. But I'll bring Amy in very shortly. What are your first... these are fresh thoughts, by the way, guys, because he's literally just read it right now. I've literally read it to him.
Meh, I think it's the saying, isn't it? You know, he comes, I want to hear him. It's easy writing it down. We get these statements from Marcus. Why doesn't he actually come out and, look, he's not going to. Why doesn't he come out and actually talk to somebody? You know, instead of your pre-planned notes that you're writing in the programme or you're writing in the paper. Lee Smith, very warm. Yeah, look, everyone will read it. They'll all have their own ideas. You know, when you get to the football side, I think, yeah, Mike, yeah, I'm with you. When you get to the football side and read about it, look, there's a lot. He's like praising the fans for sticking with him through obviously tough times. Looking forward to welcoming 2,000 back. I'm in the ballot, Martin, by the way. You know that.
MDF, you are.
No.
You are an MDF.
No, I told
you. Marcus's dream fan.
I said to you, if it was up to me, you don't believe me.
I don't.
If it was up to me and I was going on my own, I wouldn't go. I'd say, look, hand on heart, I would not be going. But when I've got 3 kids who they want to go, Elliot, he texts me saying it won't be the same, but it'll still be exciting. Now, how can I say to him, we're not going to football? Oh, by the way, happy birthday to my mum. Happy
birthday. And on that basis, let's bring in Tractor Girl Amy, obviously written many good things that Town fans have read.
Bless you.
Would you have written that statement for Marcus if Marcus had said, write me a statement like that?
Well, if you're told to do it for your job, you have to, don't you? Having a background in the corporate world, I do understand the way it's been written. It's a PR thing, isn't it? But I think that it just feels very out of touch with the fans, because how many years have we spent saying we're sick and tired of these platitudes and nothing being delivered? It just feels all open-ended. It's not committing to any actual particular action. There's no 5-point plan in there for once, but there's nothing we can hold them to. It's all very vague, as always. And I think actually, as someone who works in PR, it's quite cleverly written in that way. But this isn't a business. Do you know what I mean? This is a community, and it needs to be treated differently.
Can I just read a little bit, Amy? So it says,
go for it.
on the football side, I look forward to fans getting back into Portman Road to see for themselves what I believe are the green shoots of a style that will reap its rewards in years to come. Now, I said to you off air, Martin, if there was 20,000 fans in that stadium and we were playing football like we've seen, they wouldn't be putting up with it. It's easy when there's no one there. Let's see what happens when fans get back. Are we all going to sit there and say, oh, yeah, lovely possession football, boys?
Look,
No.
I always try and bring balance to every single show. So if there's 3 voices saying it's left, I will try and say it's right for those at home that feel it is right. Now, that said, people will often criticise me for being a pro-Lambert fan, for being too soft on him, for all of those sorts of things. Even I can't keep a straight face when he says green shoots. Even I can't keep a straight face and say, really, Marcus? I mean, even I don't believe that.
Well, he's not a football man, is he? So with that statement, you'd say he knows nothing about football on the pitch.
More importantly, and I'm just trying to find it in the statement where he mentions managers being sacked, and one of which obviously he's made every major decision, but he says, while I can't find it, that basically he will not. Here we go. The manager, coaching staff, captain and players are all doing everything. Interesting, he says captain as well, that I've asked of them in building a foundation for the future, and as long as I see progress being made, I will not be swayed into making the mistakes neatly summed up by the term, be careful what you wish for, which caused our demise a couple of years ago. I will not be swayed. Those are interesting words to use.
So he's saying big V signs and 2 fingers up to blue action for people like that, for people like me, for people like Amy. You know, he's taking totally disregard for the supporters and what we think.
Mm-hmm. It's not the first time the club have done that. Like in the McCarthy reign, there was a lot of fans don't really get what they're talking about constantly. That's what McCarthy was saying. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes. We don't know the full story. Like, our opinions don't matter because we don't know about football and they do. And it's out of touch, isn't it? It's what he's saying is either he, like you say, knows absolutely nothing about football, or he's just flat out lying to support the manager. It's a business decision. It's a business statement. It's not a football statement.
Adam Flapp, one good thing to come out for this statement. He's united our fan base. Christopher Martin.
Yeah,
I thought I got Marcus before. Now I really don't. Not a football man at all. And now treating fans like inconvenient plebs. I just thought it was interesting. He kind of... The word swayed to me makes it seem like it's something you didn't want to do, but were forced into it by those horrible people that come and shout and scream.
That are your customers. And without them, you're nothing.
Because, but we're now what? This is our second manager since McCarthy. We've had 3-4 transfer windows since McCarthy. He didn't invest in McCarthy when in the top 2 in January. Like, in the whole long list of reasons why we are now sitting where we're sitting, you are at the top, and you are number 2 and number 3 and number 4. In fact, you are the list, quite frankly. So to say I was swayed into it, well, makes me dislike him more than I did before, and I didn't like him at all. So, right, Mark Ramsay is here. Should we get some thoughts from Mr. Ramsay on the statement, and then go through the evening? I know Crunch has been a busy man on social media. I'm not on Twitter anymore. I mean, I am, but I'm not. It's not on my phone, and it's so much time has been saved in my life. I never realised how much time I go to that app, but there we go. So, without further ado, ITFC supporters club. Chairman Mark Ramsay. Welcome in, Mark. How you doing?
Yeah, hi, good evening. I'm fine, thank you.
Good. Oh, I like the picture behind you. So Marcus Evans this evening releasing a statement. I know you probably were aware of it before it was released. What were your thoughts regarding the statement? I mean, obviously, I know you can't go into.
Well, I only got home for 7:15, so I've only read it once. And I think it's a statement that I probably need to read 2 or 3 times because it's rather long-winded. It is a PR statement. I agree with Amy on that. I've been listening in, obviously. I don't know where we go with it. To the extent with the first few lines where it talks about the supporters being important, it's a little patronising because you won't even meet with the supporters. You hide from us so on the ground. So I find that a little bit patronising. I'm here to support the club. I love the club, but enough's enough. We don't treat us like we're idiots. We know what's going on. We want to support the club. We love the club. I've been going since '99. This is a serious moment in time. I've never known us split so much as a support base. I want to see us come together. All across the board. It's not just the playing staff. A lot of these statements are made too late. They're too slow to react. Season ticket holders should know what's happening with their season ticket money right now. They shouldn't be waiting to find out whether they're going to get to the end of last season. They should know what the plan is going forward. All they need to do is tell us a plan. They don't have to execute it, but we need to know the plan. There's nothing there about tonight, apart from a ballot that's going to happen for the next 2 games. Now, that is good. That's a step that I didn't hear anything about for 1,000 supporters for the Rochdale game. So I'm quite pleased that they have announced about it.
Okay, there is a few technical issues on the line. So
where we go next?
If that does continue, I will just drop myself out because occasionally on these shows I found when there's more than 3, if one drops, then it can resolve itself. So if I do drop at any point, guys, just carry on without me. I'll do behind the scenes stuff. Mark, I've got a comment here which I think is quite interesting. It says,
"Are you saying the program's going to improve if you disappear?"
Apparently so.
We have said that before, Mark, but yeah, there you go.
I just got put rinse by supporters club chairman. Brilliant.
Look, we're all in this together. We're supporters together. Just let's try and take it a bit, enjoy ourselves. It's tough enough trying to support this club at the moment. We've got to have a bit of fun.
Brilliant.
Right.
I love it.
Sorry, go on.
No, I love it. Bring that. Sore feet for the beat. He's on a charity walk for Kevin Beattie. He says, would the supporters club be asking Evans for a face-to-face properly?
We've asked for a face-to-face of Marcus Evans, and we've never had a reply. And he's gone. That's marvellous, isn't it? Just like. So we try all the time. Funny enough, I will have another conversation with them again tomorrow, and we'll see if we can get a face-to-face meeting with Marcus Evans. We try all the time. It's been turned down every time so far. Don't think we're not acting on behalf of the support. Totally untrue. Okay.
So it's
communication. Dispel that myth straight away.
It's communication, Mark. We spoke in the week, and it must be very frustrating for you because, as a supporters club, sort of a lot of fans are expecting stuff from you. But if you can't get to talk to the people at the top, like a Marcus Evans, a Lee O'Neill, what you're struggling. If they're not going to talk to you,
yeah, we are. And look, in all fairness, I did speak to Lee O'Neill last week for the first time in months for about 45 minutes. So you gave me 40 minutes. And some of the things we discussed there were the season ticket issue, the ballots for the supporters for the 2,000 coming forward, or the 4,000. We didn't know at the time which it was going to be. So he did talk about 1 or 2 issues. We don't talk about issues. I don't feel that's my job to tell Lee O'Neill and Mr. Lambert what to pick and who to pick. All I do is I do know that I'm not particularly enjoying it at the moment. We'll leave it at that, I think.
So who was it that you did speak to, Mark?
Leo Neal last week.
Oh, Lee O'Neill. Yeah. Okay. Well, it's good that you've got that communication, but I think you're right. I think
But there's a delay on this line.
no worries. We'll cope with it. I think Rich is right that
It's few and far between. It's difficult.
yeah, must make your job very hard.
Yeah, it is,
We're
mate.
struggling a bit with
You
that,
know,
aren't we?
tonight I didn't have to come on the podcast. I put myself forward to do it. No other supporters chairman has ever done this. I'm willing to put myself out there. We as a supporters group, as club or committee, we met on Zoom 4 or 5 times during the lockdown. I have suggested to the club they should run well. That's fallen on deaf ears. They haven't done it. They're waiting. They want to wait until we have a face-to-face meeting rather than Zoom. So I find it a little strange because it's not
Cop out.
anything's
Cop out,
happened
isn't
on
it?
that. And I think for us to all to be together, we need to bring this thing together. And enough is enough. We know that we want to support this club. There was nearly 20,000 here. 20,000 again. I'd like 25,000 to go again. And if we can't get the interest and the motivation coming from the club back to us, how am I supposed to encourage 25,000 people to go each week? What's the answer? I have a very difficult job at the football club at the moment. And my committee is very supportive. Between us, we've got nearly 400 years worth of experience following Ipswich Town. We've got age range from 86 to 20. We've got people who sit in every stand. We get feedback. I talk to sponsors, talk to box holders occasionally. There's a lot of stuff that goes on. I talked to the American branch of the Supporters Club this week. So that it's considering we don't get paid, I don't get anything from the club at all.
Yeah.
Let me put that straight.
Yeah.
We're doing a lot of work for them.
Yeah, this is one of the things, Mark. This is one of the. Just sorry to talk over. This is one of the things that people need to realise.
Sorry, I've got white wine rather than beer.
Don't worry, drink it. What people need to realise is, like Mark just said, he does this. He's a supporter. He's a fan like me. He's a fan like Amy. He's a fan like mine, and everybody watching now. He doesn't get paid for it. So when I see the statement on Twitter, and then it was just literally grief after grief, people moaning, and I'm thinking, look, he's doing it off his own back. He's decided to come on here tonight off his own back. And I know, Mark, when we spoke on the phone, not all the committee were supportive of you coming on here. So I think we should all say thanks very much for coming on and actually
Absolutely
facing the supporters, because like the message is there, Marcus Evans, you cannot get anything out of him. Lee O'Neill, you're struggling to get anything out of him. So this is our chance to ask you questions, but there's going to be questions. There's questions. I've got loads of questions here you're not going to be able to answer, because without Marcus or Lee, actually, because we've just seen the statement, really. That statement is just like any other Marcus Evans statement I've seen, probably Amy's seen, 90% of our supporters have seen. It doesn't really mean a lot to me as an owner. He's been here. We don't really see him. Look, and that's his right. If he doesn't want to be seen, fair enough. But at least give the supporters the time of day that we all deserve, because we pay a lot of money. Mark supported them for years. All of us, we've been going for years. And Ipswich Town, it's part of all our lives, We've not been able to go since March. I've put in for the ballot today. I know not everyone's going to go, but I want to get back and support, not the manager. I want to support the team, I support Ipswich. And I never want them to lose on a Saturday, but it's very hard to invest at the minute. And Mark, and with the pandemic at the minute, and we're all watching at home on your computers, your iPads, if they're not careful, they're going to alienate a lot of people, and they'll turn around and they'll say, I've had enough, I'm not going to go back, because that's the way it's going to go.
I'm very frightened of that. But having said that, we go to the football for a reason. It's a social outing.
Definitely.
You go out with your mates before the game, you sit down in a bar or a restaurant, you have a meal, you try and pick the team to see who's going to play. Normally I do that with the guys I go with, and normally I'm quite close, but I haven't been very close recently. So it's fun. It's the bit. What does Bobby Robson say? I hate to go back to that because that was years ago, and I don't want to go. I want to go. But that's what we need now: strong leadership going forward, moving forward together as a group. I'm not sure how we do this with all this people calling for the manager's head and Blue Action. I think Blue Action, yes, they've got a right. That's the great thing about this country. We all have freedom of speech. We're allowed to say what we want to say when we want to say it. But I do hope that they had the courtesy to pre-warn Mr. Lambert and say, look, at the end of the day, you were very good to us up front. You came in, you gave us your time, you listened to us, you helped us. You know, he was part of the organisation of that group. If they didn't pre-warn Paul Lambert that's what was going to happen, then I think that's wrong. You know, if I'm popping something, I'm going to tell them in advance. I'll say, especially if it's press, get up front, tell them the truth, tell them how it is, you know, and then at least they know. You know, I've told the club I'm coming on this podcast tonight. Will they take any notice? I don't know. I haven't heard anything from them.
But I
That's not a
suppose,
surprise.
look,
I will be
we've,
talking to somebody in the club tomorrow.
like, so I've got a question here from Vodka Red Bill. He says, Evans now has stuck two fingers up at Blue Action and the fans. What can we do as fans? We need change. It's now fans versus the club divide.
So on that note, if you don't mind, I think, I mean, the original reason we wanted to come on and talk about this was the supporters club statement on Monday, which now feels like a lifetime ago because we've had Evans come out since. Mark, how would you feel? I mean, I'll be honest, I was one of the fans on Twitter moaning. For me, it didn't do enough. Now, I do completely understand that you guys are representing the members from your meetings, and I understand that you can only say so much. And I totally take on board what you just said about how you're not going to try and get involved in football decisions, basically. But do you think that that statement represented the fans enough? Because as far as I can see, those that still support Lambert are few and far between. It feels very much anti-Lambert at the moment. With Mick McCarthy, it was kind of like everybody was divided, but it's very much we have had enough, and he has had a lot of patience from us. And from my point of view, I felt like that statement might have been an opportunity to say, we aren't comfortable with this manager, we aren't happy with the way this manager's going, and we didn't take that opportunity. How would you feel about those of us who weren't you know, perhaps totally supportive of that statement on Monday?
Well, let's be honest. First of all, if you look at the statement, and I haven't got it in front of me, stagnation is a big word.
Yeah,
there's no doubt that under the last 13 years, this club has declined drastically. Now, stagnation means it's going off, it's going bad. That's what it means. There's no doubt this club is stagnating. But how do we stop it? Everybody's quick to jump on the bandwagon and say, oh, come on then, what are the answers? You tell me, Amy, what is the answer? You know, the answer is not just removing the manager. We've had 5 or 6 managers since the tenureship of Marcus Evans. And you think changing the manager is going to make any difference?
No, I don't.
Well, I'm asking you a question. Is that so? Well, exactly. So you don't. I'm just trying to say to you, we can all be negative, and that's what Lambert's saying. Let's be positive. Let's tell them what we want and what we need. Not look at it in a negative outlook all the time. We've got to be positive. We love our club. It's our club. I mean, on one occasion, I had a meeting with Ian Mill where he told me it was Marcus's club, and I told him to his face it wasn't his club. It's our club. We share it with him. Now, on the level we're at now, if the support base comes back, we can contribute as much money towards this club as well. And that's a strong, but we could do that. So we need to follow that and support the club. Then we will have a much stronger voice, and we will be able to put our opinions over, and we'll have much bigger say in what's going on.
Yeah.
But as we are at the moment, we keep moaning. This is the wrong time, in my view, to be moaning about this. And the reason for that is that we're not in the stadium. We can't get in the stadium. If we do, there'll be 2,000 of us. When Mick McCarthy left, we started with crowds of about 25,000. Now, all of a sudden, the football got quite defensive, quite negative. I can remember losing to Hull City 3-0 just like the other week. And it was dire. And there was 8,000 fans in the crowd. Marcus Evans will take notice of that. At the moment, we need his contribution because we're just not there. This is the wrong time, I think, to be doing this. Once we get up and running again, we've all the foundations in the crowd, we're all singing again, we can sing what we like, or we can choose not to go. But at the moment, anything we do is going to fall on deaf ears, which is, I think, part of Marcus Evans' statement tonight. I think what he said, he knows he's got the upper hand at the moment.
But don't you think, Mark? Don't you think though, Mark? The common denominator in all this, it's the owner. Look at the managers that he's picked, from Roy Keane to Paul Gill. Mick done a decent job. Should have backed him in January 2015. We might not be in this position. We might not be sitting here tonight. We might have been in the Premier League. But the common denominator always comes down to the owner. Paul Lambert at the minute, I'd get rid of him. That's just my personal opinion. I know you wouldn't. But could anybody out there say, with any confidence...
I didn't say either way.
Can anybody out there with any confidence say, if the owner got rid of this manager, the next one when he gets in is going to be right? Because he hasn't got a very good track record. And at the end of the day, yes, we've got Marcus at the minute, and he's keeping us going. And you have to just look at teams like Bury, Bolton, Blackpool. They've all sold, and look at the mess they've got in. So you can look at it from both angles. You'll have your people who say, Marcus, look, go away. Then you'll have your other people say, look, without him, we probably wouldn't have a football club. So it is a difficult one to balance up. I know that. But at the minute, the common denominator, it will always be the owner. But we know there's no one out there at the minute who's willing to probably come in and buy the club. So until then, we're still going to be stuck with Marcus Evans.
Nobody's more frustrated than I am. If you watched the game the other night, what was the minute when we had a header of goal? That's the first attempt on target we had, and it was weak all game. That is just acceptable. We should be doing better than this. What the answer is, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not there. I'm not at the coaching sessions. I'm not, so I'm not going to come out on here and say, blame Paul Lambert, because I don't know. If I was watching all the coaching sessions, if that's the way they're going, they think they want to go one up front, then, we're going to trust his judgment. What I can't understand is his comments that he said, well, if we go two up front, we're no good.
Oh, my God.
I don't understand that. That mystified me. I'm totally mystified by some of the statements that come out of probably Marcus's writings. I think Marcus's statement is far too long tonight. Amy, if you're in PR, I've worked a lot in PR in the background in the past. It's far too long. Keep it short. Make it concise. We've gone through a pandemic. Thank you very much indeed for continuing to support us. We will get things right. Stay with it. Or sorry, just don't make it. Well, it's over a page and a half long, isn't it?
Yeah.
I just
exactly.
It mystifies me. It's a mystery. And then Leo Neal, he makes a statement. It's always about 2-3 pages long.
It's very self-important, isn't it? It's not. It's the number one rule in PR is that you write for your audience. But they're doing sort of old school PR where it's not writing for your audience. It's not thinking about what they want to hear. It's thinking about what they want to tell us. And that's not answering any questions. That's not helping us feel any more confident. It actually is terrible PR because it's not written with a goal in mind at all. It's just them sort of
I don't disagree
us.
with what you're saying. I heard what you said earlier. Just short, sharp statements would be better than these long diatribes of this, that, and we're going to do that and the other and all the other. We don't want to hear that anymore. What we want to hear is how we're going to win against Plymouth on Saturday. And by the way, I told Plymouth Supporters Club that we're going to have a new striker on Saturday, and he's massive. And they did ask me who it was, and I told them Thomas Holy. So,
anyway, I've got.
That should get them right.
Nothing to do with football, Mark. I've got a question here from Billy Hunt, and he says, "Can you ask Mark what his favourite cheese is?"
God, I could sound like Leo Neal on this one. I love all cheeses, but I think I like Stilton. You know why I like Stilton? It's blue in it.
Yeah. Good answer.
Blue Stilton. Can't beat it.
I've got a lot of.
Blue Stilton.
I've got a lot of questions here that a lot of them they're all the same. I've got one from
keep going.
I've got one from Renegade Statman. He's got. If you're on Twitter, you should be following him, Mark, because he's the stat man. He just knows everything. And he says most season ticket holders don't realise that they are members of the Ipswich Town Supporters Club and have very little idea what they do. How is the chairman going to change this?
Well, it stays on the website that everyone who's got a season ticket is a member. We have events that we hold. I think they're perfectly willing to come to those. You have end of season, barrier award. We have an AGM, which will move 40 people there so we can vote. So having said that, this year we held a Zoom AGM, and it's just amongst the committee because my tenure was up in November. But the committee said rather than we couldn't have an AGM, we could come and have an AGM. They said no.
So just talking,
which was fair enough.
Just talking on that point, Mark, about an AGM. I've got a question here about the AGM, and it says, "Can I ask why?" This is from Dave. Can I ask why any season ticket holder can't just turn up at a supporters club meeting? I got turned away twice 2 seasons ago as I wasn't on the list. I'm a fan who pays my money, so why can't I go to ask an unscripted question? Because I can't remember where I read it today, or someone told me that. All the questions what are going to be asked before that event.
I've never turned anybody away.
Interesting.
I need to know whether he's turned. His name wasn't on the gate. He might have been allowed into the ground. We would never turn a supporter away at a meeting. Right? We've had supporters come to meetings, but we do like to let us know in advance, or email us in advance. Then we put your name on the gate. Then you get let in. Otherwise, Big Ian will not let you in. So that could have been his issue. I don't know.
I suppose you do need to know numbers because you could just have like 5,000 people turning up, couldn't you? You're going to need to know how many you're going to turn up.
Because it depends what size room we're going to.
Yeah, definitely.
Exactly.
Go on, Amy, you talk. I'm not going to talk all night.
Oh, I liked the questions. I thought that was a good. I always keep an eye out for the AGM. I live up in Leeds, Mark, so I can never make it. But I would one day. I need to speak to you about sorting out a Yorkshire branch of the supporters club. Actually, I was taking steps for that.
Come on down, hurry up.
I've got a little thing for you, Amy. So talk to Mark about sort of communication within the club and what happened when you had was it your hen do organised?
Yeah, my hen do was meant to be Rochdale at home in April, and it was in a box, so it wasn't like I just bought tickets. My friends who have never been or want to go to the football had spent a lot of money on us having that box.
I know that one well.
And the process of getting a refund was very drawn out. And actually what you were saying about, you send a request to speak to Evans or O'Neill, and it's slow in response. You don't really feel like they're often sort of listening. I had that same experience as well. It reminds me of when I used to work in the corporate world. Some people know where I used to work, but it's very slow. It's very sort of hierarchical, and no one will make any decisions unless someone above has sort of taken it out of their hands. But yeah, I didn't have a great experience. In the end, to be fair, the club they were good. And the lady who took care of me was actually, once she and I had spoken, she, I think, went the extra mile to make sure that I was like, sort of, I got a response out of her. But it was all waiting around, and I completely appreciate the pandemic has made things very, very hard, but it just all feels like it's very corporate, which I know it is to them, but it shouldn't be a football club. You should be thinking about your fans first, like you said.
Situation they're in, please. I do get.
Oh,
There's a big
is he gone? Oh, he's back.
video thing, unfortunately. If you get that situation arises, if that situation arises again, please feel free. And we have gone and chased the club on things like this. We had a supporter and a rebate this season ticket. We managed to sort something out. So just
That's great.
Use me, or use you can do that. Yeah, official ITFC, whatever it is. Just email us, and those don't go to me directly, because obviously there's Thomas on the committee, and the previous Liz Edwards used to do everything herself. I don't. I work by committee, so everyone's got a job, and then if they feel it needs to come to me, they send it to me, and then I get involved and I deal with it. Okay? But I will deal with it. So if it comes to me, I'll deal with it. If I can't deal with it, I'll deal with it. But I'll be upfront and honest with you. Okay.
See, the main theme, the main theme, it's communication. Like all of us, it's the communication from the club is very poor. I know Marcus put his statement out today, but it's like Mark touched on season tickets earlier. We're into December now. We don't know what's happening with refunds. We're going to start possibly going to a few games here and there. I know you're still going to be able to get it on iFollow, but I'd like to know what they're planning to do with your refund, because it took long enough for last season to sort out, didn't it? I think we spoke about this on the phone on Tuesday, Mark.
I've been going on and on about it for a few weeks with them. We need to get resolved. It just needs to issue a statement. They don't need to execute straight away, because you don't know how many games these season ticket holders are going to get to. But if you take someone like Atkinson, they've split the season into 3. So they assume that nobody would go for the first third of games. So they've told season ticket holders they'll rebate, or they can donate the money to the club. Now that's fine. Why don't we do that?
Yeah.
Just, Atkinson's small compared to us. Now I know we're bigger, we've got more season ticket holders and more, but it's not that complicated. Computer is more. If you heard Stuart Hayton today, he said it's going to be very easy and straightforward to organise these 2,000 on the ballot. They're going to email people, you've got to get back to them. If they can do that, they can tell us how they're going to rebate season ticket holders. And we need to get this taken care of, in my view. I think it's time.
Absolutely.
Now we're 4 months into the season, August, September, October, November, 4 months gone. We need to say something.
Yeah.
People are being held in the dark. Some of these people need their money back because they've lost their job. They've been furloughed, now lost their job. Some of them, if they got 2 season tickets, they might have been paying £100 a month. They need the money back. And believe you me, we're fighting your corner on this sort of stuff. But you don't see it because we're not really supposed to talk about it. I put myself out there to talk to you. Okay?
Absolutely. It's great to hear about it from you. It really, really makes a difference, certainly in my knowledge. I feel a bit like the club are waiting for, it feels like they're waiting to see what they can get away with. Oh, we've lost him.
Oh, we lost him. I'd like to come back on that point when he comes back about why we can't see it. Like, why are we not allowed to see and hear and know what's going on? So if I'm still in our arse, but I might drop out just because it seemed working well for a period there. But
he's in the sticks.
When you're on,
hang on, have you changed my name? You cannot go doing that. You're not allowed. When did you do that?
I didn't start. Right at the
I'll
start.
tell you what, it's the first time I've looked down there. I couldn't see.
There's some questions coming in from the chat, which I'm going to come to right at the end. I've said,
MDF.
unless one of you two pick them up as we go through. But I've got some questions coming in, which I'm keeping back, which will make sure we're asked at the end there.
See, a lot of the questions I've got are on about what are they like, the manager, the owner. Mark can't do nothing about that. He said, look, it's a supporters club. Some people would say, why don't we have an independent supporters club away from the club? But if that happened, but no, they're not a supporters club, Amy.
Okay.
There are some fantastic comments coming like this one. Ashley Bell, Evans took his connection down. Possibly, I can't comment on that one. But I am really keen, and I know I'm normally the voice of balance, but like Jack says here, what's the point if we can't inform the supporters? Like, I want to know why we can't inform the supporters. Stay casual. Let's face it, the club is finished, been sliding downhill for years. Everyone has a cell phone that can make pancakes, but nobody knows what is going on.
But if Mark can't get a hold of the people at the top, like Marcus, they can't get a meeting with him, the supporters club. I knew that a while ago because my mate Martin, he's vice chairman, can't get a meeting with him. You know, Lee O'Neill, the next point of contact. Mark told me he's emailed him and emailing him. Can't get hold of him. But when Ian Milne was there, he'd be on the phone. He was there. He'd listen. He'd be able to talk. You know, so if Mark's trying, he can try as hard as he wants. But if you send that email and you're getting nothing back, it's got to be really, really frustrating. Has to be.
I do think it's what Mark says about we have to work within the constraints that we've got and work out how we make things better. And I totally take his point that if we can get more voices amongst the supporters club, then, you know, if we can get some real force behind that supporters club, then surely that reaches a point where they're going to have to start listening.
Get
if
me
you
on
get
there.
like a really united, I'd happily go on there, but I'm too reactionary.
They wouldn't have anyone like us. They wouldn't have anyone like us on there because we're too outspoken.
Look, Mark
wouldn't want
just
that.
said, Mark, to be fair to them, I've been speaking to supporters club for a while because I was going to set up a Yorkshire branch this season. To try and help those of us who live up north so we can travel to some northern games together. So I spoke to Liz Edwards way back in the day, but I've spoken to a couple of them to say, would that be all right if I go ahead with that? And they, to be fair to them, if you reach out to them, like he's just said, if I, you know, with my problem with the hen do, if I'd have reached out to them, they'd have solved it. To be fair, I had a rant on Twitter and it got solved that way, but
should you really have to, Amy?
knows how to do it.
Should you really have to go to the supporters club to get something like that?
Oh, agreed. Yeah,
you shouldn't really have to, should you?
No, you're right.
When Marcus took over, was it Liz Edwards as
Liz was.
then?
Liz.
So
Liz.
that's who I'd like to
Was she
speak
there
to.
that long?
I'd like to speak to someone like that because how does what he's done and doing now align with what was promised
at
to
the
supporters
beginning
club back then? Because when he took the club, there was a separate board, there was all of this, and then he dissolved that. You know, there were so many different things that I feel were said and promised and delivered.
Liz is a director now. She's a director of the club, Martin, now. Liz.
I won't make comment on that. I'll let other people make their own mind up. But I'd like to question that.
Do you know what? I think that's a valid point. I think that's the problem. When, having been at press conferences myself back in the Jim Magilton days, there's a real feeling of it's a hierarchy, like I said before, and there is a feeling of not wanting to put a foot wrong in case you cause a problem. I was there the day Jim Magilton walked out of the press conference. To be fair, he actually came and spoke to me and Brenner. He was really nice, but it was very much like, to be fair, I don't think the media would be very nice to him. But anyway, that's a biased opinion.
Mark's got his internet. He's got his internet back in. He lives out in the sticks. You live in Clare, don't you, Mark? So, have you got running water out that way?
No, I think you cut me. Come on, guys. I think you cut me off.
Well, people have been questioning whether Mark has cut the feed. We can't confirm or deny that one. But Mark, why? A common question we got running through the chat is why can't you say more? Why can't you make yourselves more loud, more clear, more?
Right. There's a 3-page constitution that we agree to when we join the committee. There's certain things that I can say and I can't say. You know, we love this club, and you know, to make derogatory statements continually about the club would be wrong, and we're not going to do that. Absolutely point blank 100%. But you know, we're not here, and we're not going to slag the club off. And a member of Blue Action was on my committee because I wanted them on my committee. And in all fairness, that guy resigned a few weeks ago, and that's why I knew things were coming to a head. We talked about things and what you do and what you do. And, you know, the supporters club would not go and hang a banner outside the club, you know, seeking the manager's dismissal or seeking the owner of foot name.
But then, Mark,
if we have conversations like that, they're between four walls. They're not.
But then a lot of people would say, at the minute, we can't go inside the ground, you know. So that is the only way you can come on here. People come on here and they say whatever about the manager. That's the only way at the minute that people feel that they can do anything, you know, because
Spot on, Rich.
Look, it's a visual. It's at the training ground. They've hung it at the stadium. Everyone's seeing it. The manager he's saying he doesn't see it until the next day, which is a load of rubbish. But it's the only way that we can get our points across. You know, I'm all for that. I've got nothing but good things to say about Blue Action. And does that say that Marcus, he's sticking his fingers up and saying, I'm not taking no notice of you anyway. You can do whatever you want. But we've all supported this club for years. 36 years I've followed us. And at the minute, this is probably the lowest ebb that we've been at. You know, we're in, I won't call it League One. It's Division 3, you know. We're here because of one man only, and that is Marcus Evans. And he needs to listen to his fan base, because without us, Ipswich Town is nothing. Without the fans, there's nothing there. So I'm all for it. That's me said.
I forgot I was on then. Sorry.
Look,
Any more questions?
My point of view is different. I think we should wait until the pandemic's over.
Carry on, Mark. Sorry.
I'll tell you what, guys, you really have to move to Zoom because this keeps cutting in and out. It's not very good.
Yeah, it's my fault. I cut across you there. Sorry, carry on.
Right, look, I don't think right now is the time to do it in the middle of a pandemic, because you're right, the only way they can get their fees across is to stick posters up outside training grounds or football grounds. But it would be far more effective if we waited until things develop and we get back in and have one voice as unity alone. We can choose when we go to the game. And if you want to demonstrate, it's the freedom of speech is great. You demonstrate. If you don't, you don't. But this is, you know, we all know we've got horrendous injury situation. That's another topic to talk about. But it's not really helping the club right now, I don't think, at this point, when we've got all these things going on. The pandemic, they're trying to come through, trying to sort out. Not trying to club too much, but they've had probably 75% of their people on furlough, and they're still not all back, is the indication I'm given. And this is probably, you know, if we want to go forward this is probably not quite the right time. Give it a bit longer, and we can get back into the stadium, and things all together, then I'm more for it, but not.
But
which comes back to my original statement that I issued.
No,
you know,
and that's fair enough. But a lot of people are saying in the chat, and I'll try and say what they're saying word for word, which is going to be very difficult because there's lots of them. But effectively, if not now, when? Because I know a pandemic's a pandemic, but there's always a not now. There's always a reason not for it to be now.
Exactly. The football season is still going. And I personally am of the opinion that the longer we stay down in this league, the harder it is going to be to get out of it. We needed out of it last year. We needed to be out. We can see the gap with Hull and Charlton coming down. We saw last week how much better the teams that are coming down are than us. We are falling behind. So I personally am of the opinion that we can't wait until this pandemic is over, because this could still be going next year.
I've got a question here, Amy. Sorry to cut across you.
Go on.
It ties in with what you're saying there. This is from Joey Sadler, and it's on behalf of the Bury Free Press. He says, Mark, surely as a supporters group, you cannot accept anything but promotion this season. So can I ask, what would have to happen for it to be a bad season for you? Do you genuinely think Lambert is the man to turn it around? And I know you're probably not going to say that Lambert in or out, but we need to get out of the league this season. It needs to happen this season.
Yes, it does, yeah. We need to get out. We've got to be in the top 6. We've got to win the playoffs. If that's the case, we either have to be top 2 or top 6. As far as the man is concerned, you can get the fence pole out and stick it right where the sun don't shine, because that's where it's going. I'm not committing myself a manager.
Wow. I'll just drop Amy out. I'll just drop Amy out and bring in Mike, who's asked to come on and have a question with you.
I was having fun.
Hello, Mike.
She'll be back. Don't worry. Okay. Mike, welcome in. Mike. Mike, what do you want to say to Mark?
Look, I get that the supporters club
Good
is.
evening, Mike. And,
good evening. Good evening. I'm with Richard on this, and probably Amy, and I would say a lot of I live in Millwall, and I travel Bury, Thetford, all around sort of Suffolk area, and I speak to many Ipswich fans, some ex-season ticket holders, some that hasn't been to a game for a long time, and some that wouldn't go to a game right now, and they're all saying the same thing. They're all saying that the club is in decline, and every one of them are saying, if we don't sort this out, we are going to end up in League Two, and then who? Then what? We could end up in the conference. To say that won't happen is the same thing. Fans said for years in the Championship that we wouldn't go to League One. Well, we are in League One. Evans. The other thing I wasn't overly impressed with the statement the Supporters Club put out, and the reason why, I just felt it was a bit politically correct, just to kind of keep a happy medium with the club. Surely, as a supporters club and as supporters, we should be sticking together and listening to the fans. The main crux of the North Stand, all the guys, and the ladies of the supporters, that some that go and some that don't, and say, look, what you need to support in us as well. It just feels that the sport club is kind of stuck on the fence, and to me, that's not what I would want from a supporters club. I'd want a supporters club that shows support for the fans as well. I get there's, but for me, I'm quite confused on what role you really play. I'm just being honest. I'm asking the question.
Thanks, Mike. Mark, now it's your platform, Mark.
Okay, well, yes, we should stick together. We should be all one as a group. But you're telling me everybody wants the manager to leave or to be out. That is not correct. There's still people who are quite supportive of Paul Lambert. Now, you might not think so, because you're looking at a various group of... It's not as much as 90%. I reckon it might be between 60 and 70, but that is the honest truth. It's not, the most vocal of the supporters of the group definitely want a new manager or see some change. As I said earlier on in the podcast, we've had 5 different managers in the tenure of Marcus Evans. Why do you think it's... You tell me, Mike. I'll turn the question back to you.
Can I just...
sorry.
Can I just
you
cut
broke
in there?
up.
Can I cut in there, Mike?
Yeah, go. Yeah.
So talking about, Mark said about 60, 70%. Question from Thomas Bowles. Show Mark the Lambert in or out poll on those were the days. and ask him if he really speaks for majority. Certainly doesn't speak for me or any other Town fans,
Absolutely.
because if you look at polls like that, it's way higher than 60, 70%.
Yeah, but I voted on a Burnley management poll about 3 months ago, and I'm not a Burnley fan or even
course
from
it is.
Burnley.
But if you go on social media, right, which I think is quite a good barometer, you will struggle to find anybody. You will struggle to find anybody that is backing this manager. No, you're not.
That took you long,
No, you're
didn't
not.
it? That took you long.
You've changed your mind. Then
Look,
you
it's-
go on social media and look. No, I'm not having that. Sorry.
I think Mark's right. I think Mark's right here. He's effectively saying, and I think, Mike, he asked you, basically, from what I could gather, do you think we've had 5 managers, they've all failed. Is there a common theme with those 5 managers? And is it all Paul's fault?
I said that earlier. It's the owner. But he's going nowhere.
Well, answering this question, did Mick McCarthy fail? Did the owner not fund him? Because in my opinion, as I've stated, as I know that McCarthy probably had, towards the end of his tenure was, the football was, let's be honest, was not much better than what it is right now. But, the first 2 to 3 years I thought he did a reasonably good job here, considering the restrictions that he was on. And there was no funding in the 15 season when we had the chance to go up. And like we said the other day, Martin, we only got in the playoffs because Derby and Darren Bent missed that penalty. The owner is, he's not been great with his choice. But he had, 1 out of 4, 1 out of 5 was a good choice. Martin Lambert can't come back from this. He's told us fans, he's told the media,
Martin
right,
Lambert.
that it's us.
Martin
sorry,
Martin
Lambert.
Yes, I can.
What? No, I meant Paul Lambert. Sorry, Martin. I didn't want to. Look. Yeah, sorry. Paul Lambert has turned around and blamed the fans and blamed the media for negativity towards the kids.
Matt Phillips, can you cut that in, please?
Yeah. Paul Lambert has blamed the media and the fans for negativity toward the young kids of this club. No, we haven't. Every bit of negativity that I've seen or spoke about is aimed directly at Paul Lambert and the way he's playing and setting up this team, injuries or no injuries, every week. So many good football guys that actually know the game and are involved with the game are saying the same thing. But Mr. I played for a big club. Oh no, I'm going to stick to my same thing. And we got to sit there and watch this absolute dross being played every. Yeah, absolutely. This dross played every weekend, twice a week we have to watch this dross. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, you're getting sacked in the morning, Martin. You're getting Martin Lambert out.
That'd be trending on Twitter in a minute. Get it trending, please.
But the supporters club need to, you've got to be a bit more. You've got to be a bit. It's meant to be a supporters club. I just don't think it is for the supporters.
Mate,
Just-
let Mark come back. Let Mark come
yeah,
back.
of course.
He's a reasonable fella.
Oh, cool. 100%. He does it for nothing.
Now, look, listen, I hear what you're saying. I totally that some of Paul Lambert's statements are like alien. They're from another planet. I don't know what. We're not negative towards our young players. Ever. We support our young players. So I totally agree with you on that. Okay, I agree with the tactics that are being played. But if he feels that's the best way forward right now, and the injury situation is another situation. We don't know what's going on with the injury situation. I mean, I've never known so many players injured. What the heck going on there?
Yeah, I have to agree.
There's a lot of things that, we'll put it all together. It's really deep. But some of, poor old Paul Lambert is, somebody said he's not, or he says he's not concerned about the criticism. I think that's wrong. I think it's probably getting to him. And therefore, looking at everyone else to try and push it off onto. And he's not going to push it off onto the supporters because you all know, I know, everybody knows. We sent some money to the academy the other week. We are supporting our young supporters. That myth is wrong. So, when I get a chance and opportunity to say something to somebody about that at the club, I will, because that's totally not right. We support. So I agree with you on that one, 100%, Mike.
Brilliant, Mark. How do you? What are your thoughts and feelings on the Phil Ham situation?
Mike. Yeah, I was going to say Mike.
Right, Phil Ham
Mark.
do nothing to harm. I'm sorry, Mike.
No, I said Mark.
Right, Phil Ham would do to hurt a football club. He's Ipswich through and through.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, I thought you said Mike. Mark. Go on, Mike.
Yeah. I was to say, I thought you said Mike.
Chuckle
As well.
brothers. Mike,
I was
To me.
Mike, I appreciate you, but right now, not the time. Mark, I was asking you.
He's gone. He's out.
I was asking yourself, Mark, what do you think on the Phil Ham situation? Obviously, Paul Lambert banning our local journalists, our local fans, not letting me in.
Right, well, I never trust one, to be quite honest, because it tends to get carried away. So I actually called Phil Ham on Sunday morning and had a long conversation with him on the phone. I'm sure he wouldn't mind saying that. Phil Ham is a great supporter of Ipswich Town Football Club. He's run one of the best sites probably in the Football League, not just for Ipswich. He is Ipswich through and through. Now, it's his job as a journalist to ask various questions. The situation why he got banned, I think, is just a bit ridiculous. There was a leak somewhere inside the club. You don't see, nobody hands Phil Ham the team sheet. He's not there. So somebody obviously found out what the team was, posted it on his site, and then he gets the blame for it. Now, in all fairness, he was probably travelling between two destinations. As soon as he noticed it had happened, when he got back, he took it down. He did exactly what he should have done. And for that, he's been punished. We need local journalism. Ipswich Town needs local journalism now. More the nationals are not really interested, apart from the Guardian, who put quite an article in about us in the paper the other day. I don't know if you read it in the Guardian newspaper.
Yeah, I read that.
Yeah,
there was a big article about Ipswich Town Football Club.
Yeah.
So, Phil needs to be reinstated. Now, I've made that perfectly clear in my correspondence with the club. And as yet, I've not had a reply. And that was I sent that over on Sunday morning after I'd spoken to Phil. But
don't hold your breath then.
I can see the manager, Paul Lambert says he's not coming in,
And,
well,
and paint the picture
I
for
think
those
it's
at
harsh.
home, Mark. Just how frustrating it is for you, despite being in this position of supporters trust chairman, that you're sending emails the same way I would send an email and getting absolutely no respect. Let's put it bluntly, no respect to even say, "Hi Mark, seen your email, reply in good time." Like, we all think at home that you should just ring up and say, "I'm Mark Ramsay, Supporters Trust Chairman." It should be bang, you're in. Is it that easy? And if not, how frustrating is it?
It's not. It is frustrating, but it's a lot worse than it was. I guess where the answer would be the pandemic. Some of the people do reply to my calls, and they do reply very quickly. Rosie Richardson's very good. Okay, so it's not every.
Just the people at the top.
I'm not going to say anymore.
They're the ones. But they're the ones wielding the power crunch. Any more questions?
Exactly.
Say if you should be at the club, I don't know.
I've got loads of questions. We could be
Fire
here all
them at
night.
Mark. Let's go.
We
Let's
could be
go.
here. Right. So next one, George Nunn. Can Ipswich Town Supporters Club official explain their reasoning behind not wanting to further disrupt the slow and painful death of our football club? Disruption isn't a dirty word, and treating it like it only has negative connotations is short-sighted and frankly, well, they're all the same, Martin, to be quite honest. They're all the same. What I'd like to ask Mark is how...
Go for it.
So I've got 3 kids, and they support Ipswich. When it'd be easy now to support a Man City,
Liverpool.
well, I was going to say an Arsenal, probably not Arsenal because they're rubbish. Liverpool. So how can they still be invested and engaged in our club? Because it's all coming from the top. My kids are massively into Ipswich, probably because I take them, but this is going to be a way of their life as it is when my dad took me. So I want them to keep going. But at the minute, it's very hard when we see our football club run the way it is. Oh, he's frozen.
I think we've got an extremely good kids program set up at the club, first and foremost. So I think that's good. But at the end of the day, a lot of this all goes back to performances on the pitch. Because if we're not going and enjoying it, then the kids eventually will get. I had a young lady last year. He was bored. He wanted to leave at half time because he was bored.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult to overcome that situation. It was 5 or 6 year olds says, "Oh no, I can't do this anymore. Can we go home now? Can we go and play with some toys or something?" So I understand that entirely. A lot of it is going to be down to the performances on the field of play, especially with youngsters. Some of us were extremely lucky.
Yeah, I was going to say.
69 as a youngster.
Exactly.
At the age of 11. At the age of 11, I went there as a youngster. I never looked back. That is the reason I'm still doing what I'm doing now. It's because I bought into Ipswich Town at the age of 11. I had fantastic 12, 15 years. Then it went down a bit. Then we came back. And then obviously 2000 was fantastic. Under George Burley, you felt involved again. Everything was kicking off. And we went to Wembley again. I took both my kids to Wembley. Neither one of my children now is not really interested in football. The other. There's a story, isn't it? That is people lost that live in the local area. And it's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
It really is. So, but how do we stop it? I don't know. I haven't got a golden ball. I can't, I can make actions. We can do anything we can try to do. But we've got to try and get this club back on an even keel. And we all together as a unit, which means them working with us and us working with them. And at the moment, I'm not seeing. But that's why I'm saying patience, get the pandemic out of the way, and let's chase it then. Perhaps this is not the right time. But I do take on board that one of the previous people said, we want to come, we've got to be in the top 6.
Yeah. And out of interest, Mark, were you...
nice dog, by the way.
Were you for the sacking of Mick McCarthy? Were you somebody who was, of that time, it was up for Mick, or do you still feel there was plenty left in the tank? There's a reason why I ask.
I think Tom McCarthy, when he showed the fans a lot of disrespect to the Norwich, he'd done it at Burton away. He showed tremendous amount of back to him and was singing proudly. At the end of the day, if you tell your inline manager, for want of a better word, to F off, and I won't swear on air because obviously, then I think you get what you deserve. And I think it'd become an untenable position for him that he'd lost the fans. Fans pay a lot of money into the club. And I think Mark has realised this is only going to deteriorate. We've got to do something about it. I also believe that Mick got bored of trying to put fires out all the time, trying to find new players that could get on the shoestring. And he thought, oh, now the supporters are against me as well. I can't do this anymore.
What's the point?
I'm leaving. Yeah. And that's exactly what he did do.
So how do you then this evening, as a fan that's thought those things, and we all have, and take Evans's statement that says, not be swayed in to making the mistakes neatly summed up by the term, be careful what you wish for? Because I take that as he's blaming us. And obviously you were anti-Mick, I was anti-Mick. I mean, I made a banner. Crunch was anti-Mick. Like, do you sit there and go, Supporters Trust Chairman, I need to say something in response to that? Not publicly, maybe, but maybe behind the scenes, because that is almost it's not my fault we're here. It's your fault we're here.
I can't believe he quoted
Do you
"Be
think
careful
I'm
what
not
you
going to
wish
say
for." I'm
something about it?
fuming.
Well, no, I'm asking. I'm just trying to
Yeah,
paint a picture for guys at home.
so I will be talking to him.
Great. Great.
Yeah, I will tell
Yeah.
him. Yeah. Doesn't
Yeah, I
matter
can't-
what I say, you know, don't know what effect it'll have, but it all comes back to communication and PR.
Spot
Yeah.
I don't know who's running this communication and PR of the club. But it's absolutely terrible at times. It's terrible. A short statement saying we're going to do this, we're going to sort out the refunds of the season.
That's what people want to hear.
The plan for the rest of the season. Fine, do that, exactly, do that. Don't give us a long diatribe of all this stuff and then try to start to blame the fans. It's not going to work.
So, what does the future look like from
Sorry,
your
that's how I feel.
perspective?
Probably been.
No, that's brilliant. What does the future look like from your perspective? Obviously, you've got the Blue Action guys with their stuff, which is got lots of fans talking. You've put your statement out, and I know you can't go into too much detail, but what do you as a supporters club want to see moving forward from this football club? Like, what sort of things will you be holding the club accountable to, for, expecting to see? Like you say, not now. Okay.
We've got to improve. We've got to improve communication with supporters. We've got to improve our PR. We've got to put performances on the field of play, and we've got to get cracking. You know, we've about 25, 30 games which will decide the rest of this season. We've got to get on it. We've got to get behind the team, the players. I know some of these guys want to hear at the moment, but we support our team through thick and thin. You know, I can remember supporting the team when there was 10,000 people in the crowd under John Duncan. If you guys can remember John Duncan,
I was
that
there.
was pretty dire then. But
Martin's too young.
we came through it.
I've heard
We
the
came
horror
back.
stories.
We can come through it again, but we mustn't. You know, don't lower ourselves to what's going on. We must rise above this, and we'll be better for it. You know, down to the level where they're starting to have a go at us. Then it's going nowhere. Because all I can see is that the owner will dig his heels in and say, "This is what we're going to do." If we're reasonable and responsible and try and have a proper dialogue, it should work better in the long run. But they've got to open their doors and let us have that.
Yeah, true. That's all it's about, isn't it? It's like they've got to let us in, or let Mark in.
And we're just welcoming Ben as we round up this evening. And Mark, we really appreciate your honesty. I'll just take you crunch. You'll be back in 5 minutes. Hang on. Ben, what do you want to say to Mark this evening? You've been watching me, listening. You're a Town fan. What do you want to say?
Yeah, well, Mark, first of all, I just want to say much appreciation for coming on, because I think not everyone has, agreed with the statement or supported it. Some have, but to come on and even at, the behest, it sounds like, of some of the people you work with, I think that really is something. So I really appreciate your time and giving maybe a little bit more clarity in a time when we have absolutely none of it. I echo your point about, this. I think it's so much more than the PR disaster. I think which it obviously is. Time is running out, and the reason I wanted to phone in, I picked up my 10-year-old niece on a school run today, and she tells me, I'm really getting into football, Uncle Ben, and I really like playing at school, and all my friends have a club they support, and that, it's the usual Man City, Liverpool, Man United. They said, but I don't know what club to support. Who do you think I should support? Now, as a third generation 25-year season ticket holder, my first inclination, of course, is to say, well, you support Ipswich Town, your local team. And I thought, do I really want to subject the poor girl to that? But my wider point is, it's about my whole ethos and how I feel about the club now is the importance of the younger fans. And I don't know if anyone sees it, but when I walk around Portman Road on a match day, there doesn't seem to be as many of them. And, to give the football trope, the young fans are the future. They really, really are, because all of us here are old enough to remember when things were good. And Mark, what you're saying about we support our club through thick and thin. Well, do you know what? I would argue we've actually done that. We have supported them through thick and thin. In fact, for 15 years, we've supported them through thick. And look where we are. That's with our support. That's with our backing. That's with a massive increase in season ticket sales when Lambert took over. Obviously, we didn't know how things were going to go. We're in the in the shite now, but we've done it. So we know what this club looks like when we support them, when we back them with our time and our money, because that's exactly what we've been doing, and we have nothing to show for it. So my question really is twofold: as chairman of the supporters club, in my next school run, why should I tell my 10-year-old niece to support Ipswich and come along to a few games? Is she going to enjoy the experience? Will she be excited? Will she have the memories that I had as a young guy? The Burley years, playoff semi-finals, that Bolton game, the season afterwards. I need a reason to tell her. I need a reason to say, come with Uncle Ben. We're going to have a great night. It's going to be a good game of football. It's going to be exciting. You're going to hear lots of shouting and cheering. I can't honestly tell her that. The only reason we're still here is because we're completely invested emotionally and financially, but also because we have in our memories those good times. So going forward, it's all very good, happy clapping, support your club through thick and thin. My argument is we've been doing that for years, and look where it's got us.
Yeah, I don't disagree with your statement at all. But the youngsters are the future. I mean, I'm in my 60s. That we support there with me, and the reason they're there is because they, like I did, with the fantastic era of European football and Bobby Robson and the whole team and the whole 9 yards. That's why we're here. I think moving forward, yes, I think what you should do is get her invested in the club, enroll her in the Junior Blues. There's a lot of peripheral stuff that's done in the Junior Blues around and about. And we've got to hope upon hope that things on the field of play will get better fairly quickly, and therefore we can all get in doing what we do best on a Saturday afternoon, which is cheering our club on. And that's all I can really say at the moment, because there's no golden ticket here at the moment. I appreciate what you're saying. I've got a grandson I want to bring to the game, and I'm in exactly the same situation at the moment. Now, a lot of his school kids, even though it's Bury St Edmunds, are strong Tottenham supporters or Arsenal or West Ham, and we've lost that in this area. They are supporting these big clubs, and we've got to try and get this back. But we do have a very good Junior Blues organisation set up. And I think, again, on that one, it's down to the field of play. And we've got to get more exciting football and wins going on so that these kids of the future, to be quite honest, we saw against Shrewsbury, we got dead lucky, didn't we? We scored in the last dying. But if we won that game 4-3 and we've been 3-2 down, it would have been a pulsating end-to-end entertaining game.
Yeah.
Everybody would want to come back.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And there was a lot of passion on the Shrewsbury game, because the only reason we scored is because their three defenders literally watched the ball roll over their boots into a goal. It's hard to believe that there's a team out there more shit than we are at the moment, but I think we actually found it. So in the respective context, that probably did make me feel a bit better, actually. But ultimately, I echo your point, and I agree with your point that you can have great PR and a fantastic youth setup and the academy players coming through and a great Junior Blues, but ultimately, my brother and sister-in-law, if they're going to spend sort of £20, £25 on their daughter going to see a game, it has to be good on the pitch. So I agree, support, get involved, but I'm just interested in your personal perspective. What is your pinch point when we do have to do something different than just turn up and support and happy clap? Because I think Blackpool and Bury, they done that all the way down to the bottom of the ocean. At what point does a difficult period of time for the club become a full-blown unretrievable crisis? Because I come back to my point, we have supported the club and this is what it's got us. This is where we are. So my thing to Blue Action, why not try something different? Because supporting doesn't work in the way that we want to. Turning up, being supportive of the team and the club, this is where we are. This is the result of that. So surely a change of tactic is needed.
I don't disagree with what you're saying, but I feel this is not quite the right time, coming off a pandemic where nobody's been allowed in the ground for 6 months. 9 months, sorry, I beg your pardon. I think the way forward is to get a few supporters back in the ground, hopefully a lot more supporters back in the ground, and just hopefully, upon hope, when these injuries clear up a little bit, our results improve drastically. But I don't disagree with what you're saying, and I do think we've got to get in the top 6 this year. It's getting really important. We don't want to hang around and stay in this division too long. The salary cap is actually kill us, Nick, to get out of this division. It doesn't matter how much money Marcus has got. If he's going to be ruled by a salary cap, we won't be able to do anything. So I think it'll be a very interesting, probably January for the market.
Yeah, but you say that, but will it? Because I think it should have been a very interesting January market when we were top 6 with Mick in there, and it wasn't. And as Martin said, this could be a very. No, I think it was Crunch who said this would be a very different situation now if we'd have done it. So we say yes, it should be a very interesting January window. They'll listen to all the criticisms, and we know where we are. No, it's not. We're going to get to 10:45 on the last night of the transfer window. We're going to get in some squad player from Morecambe. Because it's happened 25 years in a row. No, we won't. Because
no, listen. That won't happen because that's been turned out long before then. Hey, they don't around to 10:45. What are you talking about? Listen, the all history repeats.
Sorry,
all history repeats itself. Let's see. Let's see what happens in January.
I hope you're right. I do. I listen.
Lost something again.
The same as you, Mark. Let's see what happens in January. I think it's going to be absolutely fascinating. And if the messages coming out from the club have any substance behind them, we're finding out in 8 weeks. But I tell you what, if they screw up that January transfer window, if they don't do something different, then you've not got discontent. You've got outright mutiny. Surely, and I want to avoid that as someone who town goes through my veins and my generations down my family.
So do I.
We Colin Quain are coming back. Well, if that happens, I'm just gonna
I think January, Ben, there won't be a lot of movement. I think it's not just Ipswich, not just town. I think football in general, because like you say, the pandemic. That's the only reason why Flynn Downs and Wolfie are still at town now, because. You see what happened in the summer, because the money isn't available. We see today about what's the financial bailout package, Martin, that they've rolled out today.
Finally,
but that's nothing, is it?
No.
Where's that money? That money's going nowhere. 50-odd million.
It isn't.
Across.
It isn't. It's, as we round up, is there any? Because I know the line's not good. We've battled through that and we've come through it, and people have had their say. Mike, to Ben, to myself, to you, to Amy, to all of the guys in the chat. Is there anything you want to say before we round up? I'll bring Amy back in. For those that haven't had their say or feel like they've got something to say, I will drop my email in the chat now. Just email me it, and I'll make sure Mark gets it.
He will reply. He won't be like Lee O'Neill. You won't have to wait for about 2 months.
Although I am very like Lee O'Neill in the sense of it will take me probably about 3 years to reply, but I will reply because I am slow with my emails. But is there anything you want to say? Just drop it in there. So Cruncher, Amy, anything to Mark, but as we round up today.
What are we going to do Saturday? Let's talk about Saturday and Plymouth Argyle. Because go on, Mark.
Well, I think with Thomas Holy up front, we're going to score about 3 or 4 goals because they won't be able to live with our heading power. Joking apart, as a final.
You're probably better than Hawkins. You're probably better than Hawkins, Martin.
We are one.
More mobile.
We supporters, at the end of the day, have got to stick together. Doesn't mean we have to agree on the same level of action or how we go about it. But we are not going to break our faith for the club what we see going on. We can try and encourage us to come, encourage people to keep going. Let's keep it going for now. Let's see what happens. Do not give up on this club. It's a great club. Don't let anyone tell you it isn't, because it is. You know, one or two things have got to change. Let's hope we see that change and we can move forward as a unit to get all of us. Okay? Thank you very much indeed for giving me the opportunity to appear on your podcast. Please, if you do have any questions at any time, you've now got my email, guys. Don't the week. I had 65 on Sunday morning, and that's quite a lot to deal with. Okay, so I will deal with
90,
them, and I'll deal with them fairly quickly. Just okay. We're bragging. No, seriously.
Just dropping it in.
You know, we've got to get back to the point where we go to the game again. We go out, we enjoy it. We have a couple of drinks beforehand. You know, it's the atmosphere. It's the whole together, isn't it? I've loved it. 52. Let's encourage others to do the same. Let's give the club through the January transfer window. Let's see if we can stay in the top 6 and perhaps get into the top 2. It seems like a pipe dream at the moment. I'm not sure if that we're going to be able to get to the end of the running track, at the end of that mile. We have an opportunity. They may. Let's see them follow up these statements. We want to see action now. We want to be proactive with them. We want them to be proactive. If they're not proactive, perhaps we'll all become proactive. Okay?
Perfect.
Thanks again, guys.
Definitely. Lovely. Thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you ever so much. I really enjoyed that. And I really appreciate him coming on to the show. It's not easy doing this thing, full stop, let alone live. You know, particularly when, as he said, when people, his own committee have perhaps told him not to do it, have warned him against it. So I really respect it. Hopefully it won't be the first and last time. Hopefully we'll have him on again soon. We'll get that phone line sorted out. I do apologise to those sitting at home that wanted Piers Morgan and Alan Sugar style level of quality. It's just, you know, not going to happen in Suffolk. But yeah, I do apologise seriously on that one.
Even national telly goes through this as well, Martin. Don't worry about it.
It did feel a bit like Eurovision at sometimes. You know, when you say something and then it'd be like that silence where Graham Norton's like sort of filling it with a funny joke and several glasses of white wine.
Here are the votes from Slovenia.
No point for Mr. Lambert.
Martin Lambert out will be trending. Hashtag Martin Lambert out. Mike, what was he doing?
Can't believe it. So, Saturday, Plymouth. We'll just finish up with both your thoughts. MDF, track to girl, Amy. I didn't change it back. It's not been changed yet, so don't shoot me. We'll go with yourself, Amy. Ladies first. What do you think?
Oh, mate, I've got so little hope. I wrote on Twitter, I just feel completely despondent at the moment. I was quite proud of that when I came up because I was just like, it's the perfect word. I have no hope. I have absolutely no hope about this football club. Fair play to Mark because I really, really, really enjoyed. I reacted on Twitter on Monday and I probably shouldn't have done because I was cross. I didn't think they went far enough, but I'm really grateful that he let me put that to him. And I've completely swiveled now into sensible Amy. I'm picturing what my dad would be saying about it all because he's always very balanced. Sensible Amy doesn't come out very often. So fair play to him. But I feel like they can't do anything. I feel like the poor PR team, Stuart Pearce must be banging his head on a table tonight. That must have felt awful putting that statement out because he will know that isn't great PR, but they don't have a choice. This is what is being sent down from up high. And I just feel like we as fans, even if we protest, we're not going to get anywhere. I feel like the supporters club can't do anything. I feel like the PR team can't do anything. I feel like the players can't do anything because the manager's making the wrong decisions. I feel like the manager can't do anything because the owner's not giving him enough money. I just feel completely lost. And I just feel like actually there is no answer to this. So to go back to your point, I have absolutely no hope for Saturday, but I'll wear my lucky pants anyway, just in case.
You got two hopes, Bob hope and no hope. So
yeah.
Cruncher, have you got 2 hopes?
Quick shout out to Jordan Hawks. He's been in hospital. He's home now, so
Oh yeah.
get well soon. As for Plymouth,
The lowest off massive.
yeah. As for Plymouth, I'll be shelling out me £10 again. You know, because I'm a mug.
MDF strikes again.
Look, I want to watch my football team, Martin. I don't care what you say, and I don't care what anyone says. I'll keep doing what I want.
Yeah.
As for Saturday, Plymouth, look, they had a stinker, didn't they, in the week? 4-0 at home to Rochdale. So they're obviously going to
come out and win 1-0.
Well, they'll want to have a reaction.
Yeah.
Team-wise, not going to be a lot different, is it? Really? I wouldn't have thought.
I don't know. He'll probably throw some person we've never heard of on. Who have we not thrown on yet? Who are we least expecting him to play? He will probably play Dobra just to completely throw everybody.
I know he's done that. He's
played
done
him the other
Well,
night.
that's true. He's tried that card now, hasn't he? He's ridiculous. He's utterly ridiculous. I'm not even going to bother trying to guess the team because I've got no idea what loony planet he's
can we
coming
please
from on
not
Saturday.
guess the team? Because if you guess the
It
team
ruins
and you
your
get
pod.
it right, we are free media,
The
but we'll be
podcast will
bought
get
over
banned.
and then shut down. So do not be predicting any teams, please. We've learnt from Mr. Ham, sadly. But those in the chat can predict the team. I'll put it on the screen. No, probably not, actually.
I think Hawkins will start. I think he'll start
Oh.
Hawkins Saturday. I've just got a funny feeling Drilling didn't really do it the other night. If it was up to all of us, we'd play 2 up front, but we're not Paul Lambert, are we? So he's going to stick his feet in the sand, bury his head, and still play 1. You probably have McGavin will probably come in for Dazelle, I'd have thought, because he's suspended. There's not going to be many goals. We're not going to score more than 1 goal, are we, in that game? So we might get a 1-1, possibly.
Come on. Ipswich Town under Paul Lambert. Positivity. It's going to be a 2-0. We're going to get some fast free.
There's going to be some green shoots. There's going to be some little green shoots. I've got some green shoots outside. They're called daffodils, and they're coming up in the spring.
Mate, trust me, green shoots, and all of you guys that wanted McCarthy out, you know, you're reaping what you're sowing. So just buckle up. But no, come on, honestly, I think we'll be all right. Plymouth got a point, at midweek. We've turned the corner.
Have we?
I'm just trying to echo what Lambert said. Is that what you say? We turned the corner. We've stopped the run of the feet.
He's happy with the performance.
Hopefully it stops the rot. Hopefully it stops the rot. We need to turn it round. There's absolutely no question, because if we don't, we're coming up to Christmas now. He surely can't still be here after Christmas, can he?
Well,
he will be.
Surely. Well, exactly.
But as it is, we will be here Saturday, 2:30 live with the Matchday Ticket. It is myself, Matt Phillips, and new contributor Benjamin, who has been on the show this evening.
Oh, Benjamin's on.
Benjamin is on. Looking forward to hearing some zinging one-liners.
Hey, Ben, my Christmas tree's better than his.
I'll try and get Ben and Adam Flat on a show one day together, because they're like Morecambe and Wise. Just, they just zing the one-liners across. But yeah, so thanks for tuning in tonight. Thank you for watching. As I've said earlier, my email is in the chat. If you do want to ask Mark a question, send it to me. I'll forward it on, and we'll do our best to get a reply for you. Ben says, I'm not going to repeat that. I'm a PG person, but is it fun? Amy, go to bed. We love you. We love you.
This is a late night for me.
It is. I'm off for a gallon of wine. And we'll see you all Saturday at 2:30 with love and lots and lots and lots of affection. We'll see you Saturday.
Bye.